Obviously, a tough weekend in Baton Rouge. A couple of close games, and then Game 3 gets a little bit lopsided as well. When you think back on the weekend, what's the takeaway? What are you saying to your guys? What are you saying to yourself and your staff?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, we come out and we played two, pretty good games. Besides, the middle game was a pitcher's duel, two really good arms out there throwing, and we just came up, but we came up a run short. And then, I felt like the first game in the series we played really well, except for, we had about a 5-batter stretch that cost us. And so, you get back here today, you practice, you get back into, like I told them, it's not about who we're playing. And we've probably had a harder start as anybody, but it's more about how we're playing, and we got to play better. And the reality is, just because you're playing somebody different this weekend, it's not going to change unless we change how we play the game. And so that's been the message. I like this group. I think we have good players. We haven't played great over the last couple of weeks, and we got to get it going.
Coach, I did a couple of the Florida Ole Miss games on TV this weekend. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, had your Sunday games against Texas, and I kind of walked away from both of those going, it's just a couple of little things here and there, but there's obviously talent there. There are obviously arms there. There are obviously guys that can swing it. How do you insulate your players from what everybody else is saying and say, look, we got a schedule where we got an opportunity to win some games, but you got to stay locked in?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing. That it's like I told our kids today, and we have so many portal kids. I pointed at one and I said, if you lost the weekend series, did they care a lot at that school? No, sir. And I could go through a bunch of the portal, and I said, it matters here. It's a big deal here. And there's a lot of pride in this community about how we play baseball. And I said, when we don't win, people aren't happy. And I said, our job, you can't listen to the noise, but we got to go out there and play a better brand of baseball. And I think that's the biggest piece you look at. You're very right. Like, we had 7 of our losses in the league are by, I think, 1 or 2 runs. I mean, it is a play every game. And, I've tried to get out of their head about, we're close. It doesn't matter. We got to play better. Like, we got to fill the gap. We got to be more consistent throughout a whole game to be able to beat somebody. And I think that's the key, for our ball club. And it's a well-rounded. It's defense, it's base running, it's hitting, it's offense, it's everything.
Is it tough to correct those little things like that mid-season, or is that something that's built through the offseason and you just have it, or can you, at this point in the year, find a way to fix those little things that are costing your team's games?
Well, I think a lot of times the little things come out when you get a big 2-out hit. It makes up for a lot of things. You get a hit with runners like the first game of the LSU series, we left 12 guys on base and a handful of them at third with less than 2 outs, and we were up. We were up by 4. I think you start getting a couple hits, and then you're not leaning into everything, every little thing, and I think that just comes with momentum. Just unfortunately, when you're in this side of it, you feel like you have no momentum, and I think that's what you're trying to find. Yes, we have to get better at all the little things, especially defense, because we've been besides like 3 or 4 games, we've had a pretty good defensive ball club, but, it'll rear its head at any time, too. You got to play a consistent brand, and I think that's what the push is. And so we worked on it all today. We'll play tomorrow. We'll work on it again on Thursday and, start striving to play winning baseball.
You lost 3 games, 3 dramatically different ways this weekend. You had the lead on Thursday, and it got away from you. You mentioned the pitcher's duel. The game on Saturday got out of hand early, and it was just a matter of climbing back in. What's the most frustrating piece of each one of those kinds of losses?
They were all. I think the most frustrating was you give up an 8 spot in the first inning. That makes. And I give the kids credit. We come right back out in the second. We've put up 4. They fight and compete. I mean, the guys are still bought in. And that's the piece that we got to keep right now. But they're all frustrating in their own way. I mean, it's you get a great outing from Pico and Stone Simmons, you feel like you should win that game. And we've come up short. A handful of times. Pico's thrown 3 great games in the league, and we only have 1 win to show for it. That's where you got to take advantage of those performances.
I asked you about it last week when we were talking about rotation. When did you get to the point where you decided that holding him for Game 2 and keeping him on Friday was the right way to go about it?
When we bullpenned him, and he just wasn't super fresh. I think it was more him and Coach Parker just looking at it saying, I need that extra day of rest. We just had, because of that big storm, we got home like at 3:30 in the morning from Oklahoma. Wake up, play, and then we have the short week. You just felt like it was, just felt like it was better to have him. I'd hate to go into a weekend and him not pitch good because he was tired, and I don't mean like tired, like sleepy tired, but like you need real recovery to get your arm back and feel good. I think that was a little bit, we faced a first-round projected arm, and we knocked him out early, and that may have been a little bit of the reason because he pitched so much the week before and lost a day of rest. So you just never know.
The week coming up, 4 games at home. You start with Memphis tomorrow night. Then
Memphis on the road. We're on the road tomorrow night.
I'm sorry. I'm sitting there staring at it. At Memphis, Tennessee.
It's 2 weeks in a row he's messed up on you, Coach. I'm just telling you, you would blow me out of the water if I did this. You need to get him.
I would never do that. So
at least he corrected me this week. So at Memphis tomorrow night, and then South Carolina at your place coming up this weekend. Beyond winning, and obviously that's at the top of the list, what do you want to see?
Well, like I told the ball club today, our goal is, I know you can sit and count out SEC wins, right? It takes this many to get this and this many to get that. And I said, guys, I don't care how many we get if we don't become a better ball club. And I said, because, you can't judge yourself. Like, we had to play our best, and that's it. And our brand we got to lift it a little bit higher right now and put together full, complete games. And, then everything else will take care of itself. If we're so focused on we got to do this or we got to do that or then the getting better. And right now we just need to get better. And so that's what we spent the day on today. And we'll go to Memphis and try to play really well. And, I'd love to see us play a complete game this weekend. You never play perfect, but, as complete as you can with, sound fundamental baseball.
Yeah. Chris